Hello, audience. After however much time it's been since we've started on this, we finally got this car done. We've sorted out all the little details, and it's ready to go back to the owners. So, I'll point out a few details here. Now, as I'm sure many of you figured, we were going to pinstripe it, and this is the original color that it was. If you remember way back to the first video on this, we discovered it wasn't really cream and it wasn't really gray, it was kind of an ivory color, and that's what we have on it now, which is the same color we used on the wheels, which is what the owner wanted. The gutters, we eventually did get those painted, so those are good. The ends that go on them that I mentioned a few videos ago, that's one of them. And that's the other. Now the interior, as I've mentioned in previous videos, we pretty much kept it all stock. Now this is one thing we added though. The owner wanted cell phone pockets on the kick panels. Not very specific about how they wanted them, they just wanted them there. So what I did was I pretty much took the design of the door pocket and shrunk it down till it fit a normal size phone, and that's what we have. Now you can barely see it from here, but it's got some kind of older aftermarket windshield wiper motor. I'm not sure when it was built, but probably pretty long ago. It was still in good shape, so we just cleaned it up and reused it. I found this kind of interesting, because this switch and this mounting bracket clearly were not made to go together. This is for some kind of rotary switch, and this is a push-pull switch. However, both of them were kind of unique, and it's kind of part of the history of this car, so we decided to leave it. And behind the firewall, you can barely see it, we've added a resistor for the windshield wiper motor, so that's running at 6 volts like it was originally intended to. Now you may have noticed it has the wrong parking brake configuration. On this car the brake lever originally would have been in front of the shifter instead of to the side of it, but that's just the way the transmission was when we got this, and everything's already been rebuilt, so we decided to just not mess with it. And now we're finally going to start driving it. Now you probably remember in previous videos, we've already started up the engine, we've run it up and down the driveway. Everything seems to work okay. We've since ran it up and down the street a few times, we've had no problems. So now we're going to start driving it around the neighborhood and look for any squeaks or rattles that need to be worked out. Now that can normally take several months on a new restored car to work all that stuff out. But since I already told the owner it's going to be delivered tomorrow, we're going to drive it once and say it's good enough. guess what? It's good enough. No, seriously, we actually didn't really find any problems. The only real rattle we found was the floorboards. They were kind of squeaking a little bit, but we tightened up the screws and that fixed it. The brakes, they don't pull to one side or the other. They don't change when they warm up. We haven't really found any mechanical problems with it. So tomorrow morning, we're going to hit the road and see what happens. So it's the next morning and we're off and running. We haven't had too many problems. The only real problem we had so far is the throttle linkage was kind of binding a little bit, but a little adjustment would fix that. We found a few new rattles here and there, but we'll try and fix them on the way. Not really anything we can do about it. So far, this has actually been a pretty good driving car. I mean, we don't have the seats over padded, so there's actually plenty of room in here. I wouldn't say there's excessive leg room, but it's adequate. Some guy's stopping in the middle of the road. So yeah, it's been running pretty good. I think it's got some higher gear ratio, like 327 or something like that, because you really got to use first gear to get it moving, but once you get it in high gear, this thing just cruises. That's not even in overdrive. Now, one thing that surprised me about this is just how comfortable it is to drive. Now, no, it's not the last word in luxury, but for a Model A, it's actually pretty good. I mean, we don't have the seats modified, it's just sitting in the furthest back location, and I don't have to lean forward to see the traffic lights. My eyesight is like straight through the windshield. There's enough room for my legs. I mean, obviously the seats are not too comfortable, but there's only so much you can do with that. But yeah, I could drive this thing for a few hours at a time, probably. So you've probably already noticed, we're not taking the freeway, even though we're driving a considerable distance. Even though it's got a built motor and an overdrive and all that, everything's still brand new and hasn't been worn in yet, so we're really driving it easy. We're keeping it along 35, 40 miles an hour at the most. Now, we brought a few tools along with us, but we don't have a support vehicle with us, which we've done for two reasons. One, because I'm kind of a little bit confident that this is going to make it, but also a surprise that I'll let you know later on. And we made it there with no breakdowns or no serious problems. We delivered it to the owners. They absolutely loved it. They immediately jumped in it and started driving it around, showing it to all the neighbors. So everything worked out. Now, it still has a few little problems that need to be adjusted, which we can do on location, but we're not restoring it anymore. It's a finished car that needs to be adjusted, so our part of it is pretty much done. Now, that was quite an involved project, as complete restorations normally are. We had some unexpected delays, we had a few problems, we had to throw it together pretty quick at the last minute, but we didn't really have to compromise anything. I'm quite satisfied with the results, and so are the owners, so everything ended up working out. And like I said, we didn't bring an extra vehicle, so the way we got home was we actually took another one of their cars back. Yep, we brought in another project. This is a 1931 Model A station wagon, and the current plan is we're repainting it, which is like from here forward. The color is slightly off, and it's aged considerably since it was last restored, so it should be a simple enough project. Are we going to end up doing more than that? I have no idea. Are there going to be future videos on it? I have no idea. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, that's it for now. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for following this entire series, and we'll see you next time.